Hi, Nick Osborne with the Personal Training Department Blueprint, here with our next video on the systems you need to put into place for having a successful personal training department. To really systematize what you're doing so that your club, your clients, and your coaches or trainers can finally start getting results. Now, I know I went over really extensively in the first video why you need to have systems in place and why not having systems in place is really killing your personal training revenue. So what I'm going to do now is start with the systems you need to put into place and how to put them in place so that you can start making the money that you want. Now, they're not necessarily in the order I would start in, but it's in ones that would make sense to the owners or managers right off the bat. So the first one I'm going to talk about is a sales system, a personal training or personal coaching sales system. Now, we know that trainers suck at sales, and that's okay because they really don't have systems in place to allow them to be successful. The average person cannot do sales correctly. And even if it's a product that they really feel passionately about, they don't know how to speak to another person about it in a way that gets them feeling emotional about the same thing. Oftentimes, we're still selling exercise when it comes to personal training because the personal trainers love exercise. But if you remember in one of our videos, the client really doesn't want exercise. They don't want to have to do squats. If they could sit on a couch, take a pill, be skinny and healthy, they'd do it. They don't want to get up and go work as hard as the trainers do. However, the trainers love working out. They would, if the gym was shut down, they'd find a way to work out in a park. They go to conferences and they work out as much as possible. So working out is not what the client wants, but it's what the trainer is selling. So we need to have a sales system in place that allows a trainer to speak to the potential client in a way that the client can hear, understand, and then can motivate them to actually take action. Again, most trainers don't know what sales is. They can't tell the difference between sales and marketing, and they can't really define what sales is. So sales is really simple. Marketing is a little bit more complex, but sales is a system that's put into place or an action that's done that requires the client or potential client to say yes or no. They either want to get started or they don't. Even I'll think about it, let me get back with, that's still a no. No right now. So sales is an action that requires the client to say yes or no. It's a buying decision. Do you want to get started today? And most trainers never ask that question. They go through the entire sales process up to the end and then still forget to say, would you like to get started now? How can I get you started now? Which program would you like to get started on today? So having a sales system in place that you can actually train the trainers or coaches on to make them successful should include a closing statement. And you should always use that. So what does the sales system really require you to put into place? Number one, you have to have a consistent pricing program and a signed agreement or contract for that product. So if you're operating in a gym, if you're an owner or manager and you don't have a pricing system in place that's easily understood and explained, that's the first thing that you need to put into place, is put a pricing system together that makes sense to the potential client. Now, I'm going to give you some suggestions here. You should have one-on-one options. Now, with my system, the Personal Training Department Blueprint, we can start out on one-on-one, but we want to get to partner and then either call it semi-private training or team training. Don't call it group training because that's an entire different product. That's your boot camps. That's what we call fast fits that are scheduled. There's not truly a group or a team that is formed. Okay? People come and go all the time in these small group trainings. So we want to call it team training or semi-private training or semi-private team training, whatever you want to call it. But make sure that it's still got the word private in it or it's a team and it's differentiated from group training. So you've got to have pricing for one-on-one, partner, then team training. You also have to have a signed agreement. That way the client knows, and it looks a lot more professional, what is required of them, what they should expect from their trainers, how long it'll last, and how it's going to be billed. With a personal training department blueprint, we provide this agreement for you. It's part of the package that you get with the fat loss department or the IFCS level, fat loss department blueprint or the integrated functional coaching system level. The next is you need to have consistent offerings. Now what I mean by that is some clubs will make you do hours or half hours, one or the other, or 45 minutes. So you got 3 options. Come down to 2 options. Would you like hours or half hours? I suggest both because some people can't train physically or financially for an hour. However, if you're in team training, half hour might not be enough for the team. They might want to work together for an hour. Some clients want to spend an hour. They want to be worked out harder, longer, especially our clients that are on a strength gaining program. You need to work them out just a little bit longer. Have offerings for 1 time a week, 2 time a week, and 3 time a week. You might even go to 4 time a week, but I don't really care about that. So we got to have these options, and you will also, when you put your exercise system together, you'll want at least 3 different levels of training. Okay? So far we got a consistent price system with a signed agreement. We have consistent offerings, so every trainer offers the same thing also. One trainer just doesn't do half hours. One trainer just doesn't do hours. One trainer, I've seen at clubs where a trainer says, well, I won't train somebody unless they train at least 3 times a week. Really? Why not? You don't want their money? You don't think you can help somebody training 1 time a week? Then you're not a great trainer. So we've got to allow our trainers to have a system that says I'm going to train somebody 1 time a week, 2 times a week, or 3 times a week. At my clubs that I work with, and even the New York athletic clubs, people train, the bulk of the income is actually from 1 time a week training. Don't discount this as a revenue source. Think about it. If you can offer consistency 1 time a week, training with the trainer for, I don't know, $200 a month or half an hour for $120 a month, and you can almost double your revenue by offering that and making it available to your clients, take the money, help the client start making a lot more money for the club and for the trainer. So the sales process that I would like everyone to put into place is just put in a simple sales assessment, okay? What I'd like trainers to do is do a 20 to 30 minute interview at the beginning. You're gonna go over the PAR-Q. You're gonna talk to them about what they've done in the past. It makes you look credible. You're gonna talk about what situation they think that they're in right now, what they're currently doing, what are their goals, and then why. And this is key. Most of the time our clients will come in and say, especially our female clients, I want to lose 20 pounds. Fantastic, the trainer writes that down and that's the goal. So we work on maybe losing 20 pounds, and if it's a good trainer, lose 20 pounds, client reaches their goal, they're happy, they move on. Most of the time that doesn't happen, but let's say it does. However, that's not really what the client's after. So we need to ask questions that gets them emotionally response. 20 pounds isn't an emotional response. There's no emotion tied to that 20 pounds. Ask them better questions. Really? That's great. 20 pounds is a great goal. May I ask why you want to lose this weight? Well, I want to lose weight so I look better. Great. What's going to happen when you lose that 20 pounds? When you look better, how does your life change? Well, I'm going to get a little bit more confidence. Oh, that confidence is a great reason. It's actually a better reason to train than 20 pounds. When you gain more confidence, Mrs. Jones, how is your life going to be better? What are you going to do different? Her answer to that is what we're really after. But you've got to have a systematic way of asking those questions, because you got to train the trainers on that, because most trainers don't know how to ask that question, and it actually scares most trainers. So if you have it written down and you have a process in place, a system in place, you can get the trainers to start asking those questions and get that emotional roller coaster started. So after you get down and figure out what they're needed and what they're after, Mrs. Jones wants to lose 20 pounds so that she can change her life, have more confidence, and do things that she's never done before. And that's what we're doing. Mrs. Jones, fantastic. We're going to train you to lose those 20 pounds, but my goal is also to give you the confidence to lead the life you've always wanted and to do the things you've always wanted to do. Does that sound like a good deal? I mean, right there, most women show me where to sign. If you can give me the confidence to do things I've never done before and that I will be able to do them physically, and you're going to help me lose 20 pounds and look better, I'm good to go. Let's start up right now. Screw the rest of the sales assessment. Let's just get started. But most trainers need a little bit more, so we're going to do a physical assessment at this point. Here's what I suggest. Blood pressure, heart rate, resting heart rate, and then their body fat percentage. I don't really care about BMI because the number is, you end up with something in the mid-20s that means nothing to the client. However, doing skin caliper body fat tests, I know some people poo-poo it all the day long because of all kinds of things. We've been doing it for 13 years with no problems, and I guarantee you, grabbing a woman's fat or anybody's fat and pinching it and putting a caliper on it makes that person feel uncomfortable. They don't like to know how. I don't like to have anybody grab my fat and pinch it. Nobody does. So we start on that uncomfortable roller coaster again where the client feels uncomfortable. You point out, this is how much fat you've got. They don't like that at all. So we put them in a state that makes them aware of how much fat they've got on their system. We use a Skindex, so it makes it really simple for our sales assessments, really quick. The numbers presented right there for the client to see. You can then talk about how many pounds of fat that is. And when you have women that have 50, 75 pounds of fat on their body, they want to get that off as soon as possible. And you want to explain at this point the health risks of having a high body fat percentage or high blood pressure at this. So high blood pressure will do these things, and high body fat has these health risks. Mrs. Jones, were you aware of this? No, I wasn't aware of this. Is this enough of an incentive for you to want to take action and start changing your life, changing your body a little bit more? Yes. Now, some people will tell you that those numbers, the client already knows they're fat. I get that. The client already knows. But now we have a number to start with. So if the client says, I want to try this on my own for a couple weeks at the end of the sales process, they're not ready to get started, you have a number to reassess later on. Mrs. Jones, it's been a month. You've been doing this on your own for a month. You're at 36% body fat. Let's do the skin caliper test one more time real quick because I don't want you to waste your time. You went from 36 to 35.9 on your own, or more than likely it's going to be 36 to 36.1 is what most clients are going to end up. Is that enough of a change for you to figure out if we could work together to start getting you results? That's our 30-day follow-up system, okay? So you got 20 to 40 minutes. So now after you do the blood pressure, resting heart rate, body fat percentage, you explained all that, let's go out and do a functional movement screen with them. Let's talk to them a way that no one else ever has. We're going to do the deep overhead squat. I suggest doing the inline lunge, the step over test, and maybe the rotary stability. Also, do something that shows them that long-term cardio, steady state cardio, isn't what's going to get them results. That's what our assessment's designed to do, especially with the one that you get when you're a member of the Personal Training Department Blueprint, is give them different information than what they thought. It's a scientific way of explaining what we do and how we do it and how we're going to get them results. So the deep overhead squat shows that the client's hips don't work right, and so therefore the glutes and the quads don't actually help the client get the results that they're looking for because they're not using big enough muscles, all of that. Then we do an anaerobic step test. It's a Canadian test that shows them that long-term cardio is not going to get them the results that they want. So we want to actually do some interval training. So it gives us a reason to talk to them about the difference between what they're doing and what they would get with our program. We're going to follow up with kind of a plan. We want them to have something, even if they don't work with us, at the end. We're going to go over what we call the 6 components of fitness. We're going to talk about what they need to do to actually get some results. We want to go through and show them this is how complex it is, but if you work with me, it's really simple. I'll do all the work. You show up, do what I say when I'm not with you, and you'll get some outstanding results. So we can have this system, and then we need to actually have a system for presenting training options. We have an initial offer with our clients. It's called the 5-week metabolic makeover. We work with me for 5 weeks. It's a short-term close-in deal, and it's $300, whatever the pricing is. The client can either say, that's great, let's get started. I want to get results faster than that, or it's too expensive. But it gives us a good gauge for our trainers to go, I don't know what to offer you. If they get good at presenting the 5-week metabolic makeover and then listening to the client's reaction, that's too expensive. I've got some cheaper or more affordable alternatives. Would you like to work with those? That's what we want to do with our sales system. And then practice it over and over, because it's really important to practice our sales system so our trainers are more confident, less scared, and they gain a little bit more confidence in what they're doing so that they can help the member. So That's our sales system. I told you these videos are going to be short. I already inundated you with the long one at the beginning. Now, a lot of people are asking me, what kind of money should I be making? Why is this so important? So I'm going to go through. If you've got a club with 1,000 members, you are missing nearly $250,000 in revenue each and every year. So it's key for you to make these changes. Start putting that sales system in place. If you don't want to do it on your own, we have the sales system built into all 3 levels of the personal training department blueprint to make you and your trainers successful. So, Nick Osborne with the Personal Training Department Blueprint, helping you put systems in place to make a lot more money.